On day 3, guys. Give me a hand, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs middle, a thumbs down. Let me know how you're doing with all these new tools, all these new strategies that we got going on. Good. I'm glad you guys are rocking your tools. How great was yesterday? Did you guys go home and play with some of the new breath support tools from yesterday? Yeah? Who got some good reps in with their hissing and their lip trills, reinforcing some of that stuff? And isn't it funny how, like, you can have like a lot of training and you just recognize, oh my God, like some piece of this I never was taught, or some piece of this I like never fully clicked. And it's like, oh, and then stuff starts to integrate like so much better. So let's see. Okay, celebrating you guys. So many of you did some great hissing and some lip trails. Nice. Joseph, Jessica, Darlene, Lance. Nunzio's back. Hi, Nunzio. Nice. Good, Jim. Awesome. Okay, what about who did their meditation? Who's accountable? Who did their meditation today? Let me see. Let me celebrate you.
Let me see.
Guys, sorry. I just realized I had my thing plugged in, and if you weren't hearing me, that's why. This is probably way better. Um, good. Uh, Jessica did it. Yes. Come on, guys. Who did their meditation? You're telling me only 2 of you did your meditation today? I'm going to have to whoop some butt if that's the case. I'm not doing my job if that's the case. Okay, good. Steven, nice. Christina, good. Okay. Tavi, both? Nice. Okay. Sammy, Michael, good, good, good. Okay. Don't forget to do the meditation daily, guys. It's really, really, really important, like for that daily conditioning of that present moment. It's really important to condition that daily. So keep doing that. Keep doing it each day this week. So we have a lot to get to today. A little bit of housekeeping. Reminder, save your questions. We're going to train first, then answer questions. And we also have a full Q&A day on Sunday also. Reminder, this is the safe space. Those who sing, those who share, we encourage vulnerability and bravery and have zero tolerance for any kind of judgment, meanness, criticism in the chat. This is the safe space, and it is one of the highest values that I maintain in whatever kind of training, workshop, intensive program, whatever I'm doing. So please uphold that here. Make sure that your original sound is switched to on. So if you followed the steps prior to this from the emails that we sent and the videos that we sent to enable Zoom for original sound, when you get into the meeting, you have to turn it on. So if you are on a laptop or a desktop in a Zoom meeting, you will see at the top of the meeting on the right-hand corner, it'll say original sound for musicians and it'll say off. And you want to click it to on. If you are on a mobile device, Ashley, how do they enable turn it to on if they're on an iPad or an iPhone or like a phone? How do they do that? Okay, there she put it in the chat. So there you go. Okay, in the meeting, make sure you turn it to on. It's not just enough to enable the settings. Okay, let's get to work. So most of you are putting yourselves out there for auditions and performances and recordings, and you're making a mistake unbeknownst to you. It's an innocent mistake, and you don't realize it. And you don't realize that you lack the rocket fuel to actually stand out from the competition at the level that you need to consistently and actually deliver that when it counts no matter what, which can also, quite frankly, affect your confidence. It can cause some of those traumas that we were talking about, where you're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. You keep putting yourself out there and not getting the results that you want. And so this lack of this rocket fuel to really stand out from the competition consistently, this is why you're not breaking through yet at the level you want. And that rocket fuel, that ammunition, it begins and it ends with one idea. And that idea is energetic sound direction. So remember on day 1, we talked all about that energy is the link between mind and the body. And the way we direct our energy to get the maximum power, efficiency, and impact out of our instrument, that is energetic sound direction. And how we do this is by using the idea of opposition. So yesterday, when we were filling the gaps in the technique and in the breath support technique, you got your anchor, okay? The breath support that anchors the sound in the lower part of your body. Today, I'm going to give you what I affectionately call your sail, because you need both. You need your anchor and your sail. Because think about it. Like, once you have that, you're able to use energetic sound direction in the form of opposition. So I want you to think of a boat, okay? A boat, you've got your anchor rooting into the sand, and you've got your sail facing into the wind, and whew, that boat isn't going anywhere. It is super stable, okay? And it's the same in your body. So the energy of your support and the shape and space of your resonance need to oppose each other energetically in the very same way that an anchor and a sail on a boat oppose each other to create absolute stability. Okay, the lower feeling of support that we talked about yesterday, that feeling of lean and resistance and apoyo, that's your anchor. And today we're going to talk about what constitutes your sail. And so it's this stability that the opposition creates that allows you to consistently tap into the maximum potential of your instrument to bring your best sound and your biggest impact every single time. And remember, what did we talk about? Impact equals opportunity. The bigger the impact, the bigger the opportunity you're going to get. The bigger the impact you make, the more money you're going to make, right? So this is the stability and the consistency that allows that maximum potential for that impact to come forth in your instrument. So that's concept number one for today. Opposition is what creates absolute stability and consistency and power for your biggest impact. You need your anchor and you need your sail. But right now, you only have the anchor because that's what we solidified yesterday. So let's talk about the sail. And for those of you who want stronger high notes, who want to be able to mix better for high belt, this is also super essential. So the sail refers to the shape and the space of your resonance. And sound resonates in your body in three places, okay? So it resonates in your head, it resonates in your chest, and it resonates inside your mouth, what we call your buccal cavity, inside your mouth. And now you can't change the shape of your head, your skull, right? Like where the sound bounces around up there between your skull and your brain and in your sinuses. You can't change the shape of that. You can't change the shape of your chest. It just is what it is. But you can affect the shape of your buccal cavity inside your mouth with your soft palate, your tongue, and your jaw. And so this is super important because the shape and the space determines what the resonance is. So you think of like the shape of a space, right? So like if you're in a room and it's a super squat room and it's a really dead sound, it's like a dead room, because the shape is like a low ceiling, it's a squat room, versus like a tunnel, different shape of that space, you have an echo, so you have a different kind of resonance, okay? So the shape of a space determines its resonance. And so the major thing that affects the shape and space of our resonance inside our buccal cavity, inside our mouth, is our soft palate. And that is your sail. So let's talk about soft palate for a second. So you guys know where your soft palate is? So hard palate here, like right, hard palate right behind where your teeth that come. And then in the back, it's your soft palate. And you can run your tongue up back there like that's your soft palate. When you yawn, your soft palate stretches. When you sneeze, your soft palate stretches. Okay, so just first of all, understanding where your soft palate is, making sure you're acquainted with that. And so when we talk about the space of resonance and we talk about the sail, which is the soft palate creates, we want a big old sail, like providing lots of space for the sound to bounce around and resonate in. But it's also not just any space. It's the shape of that space that also matters, as we said. So here's how you find the most optimum shape and space of resonance is you need to learn how to pull up and stretch your soft palate. So this is something that we do on occasion, but it's mostly something that we do unconsciously or without actively cultivating it or choosing it in terms of stretching the soft palate. So what I want you to do is this is what I call the smell the brownies. Some of you might have heard me talk about this. I want you to imagine that I have a plate of hot, fresh brownies, like fresh out of the oven, and I put them right under your nose and they smell really good, rich and gooey. And I want you to smell the brownies. Breathe into a smile. They smell really good, a nose breath. So breathe into that beautiful smile because they smell really good. And I want you to notice what your soft palate does. When you breathe into that, when you're smelling something good and you breathe into a smile through your nose, you feel your soft palate stretch. Tell me in the chat, who feels that? It's another way of feeling it is it feels like your ears are widening away from each other. Another way that you can also feel it is as like the top part of a yawn. So when we yawn, so you can make yourself yawn. I have to make myself yawn. I feel my soft palate stretch when I yawn too. Now, when I yawn, I also depress my larynx. We do that. That's the part. We don't want to do that when we sing, okay? But the top part of the yawn, that's also the soft palate stretch. Excuse me. It also stretches like right before you're going to sneeze when you're like, achoo, right? That soft palate stretch is there too. But in order to be able to like consciously and deliberately like choose that stretch, the easiest way is to feel that smell the brownies. And you feel your ears widening away from each other. It feels like your fangs and your back top molars are like riding up into your brain, right? And so that's that way of really starting to get acquainted with being able to stretch and manipulate and pull up on your soft palate on demand, okay? Because just like the analogy of the room, if the soft palate is not up, now we don't have the resonance space that we need. It's a squat room. It's a dead room in there. It's, you know what I'm saying? So the other part of this is not just the space that we're creating, but also the shape of the inside space, okay? Because we want to create space that's tilted up on a diagonal. Okay, a lot of singers get stuck because they think that they have inside space, but it's a false sense of space and it's actually not being created by a soft palate stretch. What they're doing is they're actually pushing down on their tongue. And so they feel like they have a lot of inside space, but the space is like from here down. What we want is the space from here up, that tilt, okay? So it has to be up on the diagonal, not space down into your throat, okay? So one of the things that I want you to notice is that there is an external physiological shape that can really help you when you're new at this to find that soft palate stretch. And that's the smile. It's feeling energy in your cheeks, feeling your cheeks and your ears riding away from each other. It's feeling like an upside down triangle here. And if you see a picture of any singer who really knows what they're doing, doesn't matter if they're a pop singer, Broadway singer, opera singer, they all, if you took a picture of them, like a still picture of them, like big note, they all look like this. And I'm going to show you this. This is one of my favorite things to do. Some of you may have seen it before. I'm going to share my screen. Check this out. Okay, look at these guys. Doesn't matter what genre. Pavarotti, Anna Netrebko, opera singers, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, pop singers, Leslie Odom Jr., Sutton Foster, Broadway singers. They all are in their cheeks in that nice big soft palate stretch. Okay, call that the upside down triangle. The smile part of that is essential because it's what helps you tilt up. Okay, so if you guys are doing this, you're not there. Okay, here. Notice how you see the teeth, okay? So legit smile, and then just let your jaw hang, okay? Now you're gonna let a breath come into that space between your ears. So as you breathe, you feel your ears widening away from each other and you're gonna feel this. And guys, make sure that you're not engaging your tongue to try to like manipulate this in any way. It's just the idea of breathing into a smile. A nose breath is really easy to find it, and then you can let your jaw drop. Okay, so what I want to make sure you guys get is that this is not just this is what the external physiology looks like when the internal physiology of your soft palate is nice and high and stretched and tilted. Okay. And so this is a way for you to use your external physiology to get the internal physiology going the way it needs to when you're new at this. Once you know what that feeling is of soft palate stretch, like I can be in that shape without like, I can be here. I can be, ah, ah. Notice I'm still high. I'm still here. I'm not going this. Even if I'm in chest voice. Do you guys hear the difference in my sound when I'm pulling up into that tilt, into that space between my ears versus when I don't? Listen again. I'll do it in chest voice. So here's when I'm not in my sail. Here's when I am in my sail. It's a much pingier resonance because I'm in the shape of the inside space of the room inside here that creates that resonance that is the most efficient. Okay. So the one thing that we talked about just a second ago about breathing into that space between your ears, right? So you feel that stretch. The easiest way to do it is to use that nose breath, breathe into the smile, smell the brownies, but then you have to keep that stretch over a duration of the phrase while you're singing and not let that soft palate fall down. So it's like that feeling of breathing in to smell the brownies, feel that stretch, and then pull on that soft palate. Don't let it fall down as you sing. Like I sometimes like to tell my singers, it's like you have like fish hooks and you just like pull. Feel your ears widening, feel your molars pulling up into your brain. Don't let that fall down because that's your sail and it always needs to be up when you sing. So that brings me to the next concept for today, which is concept number 2. Which comes back to the idea of opposition that we were just talking about, which is that you are always moving your anchor, which is your lower support, and your sail away from each other over the course of the phrase. This is the first way in which you're going to employ opposition. And why does this matter? Because if your anchor and your sail are moving towards each other, so meaning instead of your support being like we were talking about yesterday in that gentle flex, if you're pushing up like this, and if your sail is going like this, right? So if your anchor and your sail are moving towards each other, here's what happens. Your larynx, so we're going to use the idea of the midline, which is from above your heart space to right below your chin here. And this is where your larynx lives, okay? If your anchor and your sail are moving towards each other, you are putting pressure on and encumbering your larynx from both directions. And now this is where we get tension, and then the vocal cords cannot vibrate as efficiently as possible because you got the air and the pressure coming up this way, and you got your physiology and your sail pushing down this way, and it's too much. Okay? Now, if your anchor and your sail are moving away from each other, opposing each other, now this is absolutely unencumbered and free to vibrate as efficiently as possible without anything, encumbering it from either direction. Oftentimes, singers have one of the things, either their anchor or their sail, going in the right direction. So you might have your anchor going in this direction, but you also have your sail going in that direction. And now it's being encumbered from above. Or the opposite, you have a good sail pulling up, but your anchor and your support is coming up this way, okay? So we always want to be moving everything away from the midline, away from the larynx. And that opposition, it creates stability that frees the larynx to vibrate as optimally and freely for the biggest impact of your sound. So if you have problems with reliability, consistency, confidence that gets created because of that, accessing high notes, pitch intonation issues, problems changing registers, head to chest, going through passaggio, problems mixing, it is because you are not opposing. Your anchor and your sail are moving towards each other or moving in the same direction, putting pressure on your larynx instead of opposing each other, moving away from each other, allowing the larynx to vibrate freely and efficiently. And so one of the best ways to learn how to practice opposition is what I call sirening. So what a siren is what you would think a siren is. Woo! 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 Ah! Ah! Yee! Those are sirens. Sirens is exactly like what it describes, okay? What I love about sirens is it gives you an experience of phonating throughout your range without having to worry about melody or syllables or anything, and being able to bring your awareness to the intention of moving your anchor and your sail away from each other. Okay, so I want you to siren and practice opposing your anchor and your sail. We're gonna just siren. You can pick your favorite vowel, doesn't matter what it is. I like E, so I'm gonna siren E, and I'm gonna set the energetic direction for my sound to support this idea of opposition. Now, so if I'm sirening on an E, from bottom of range, chest voice through head voice, all the way back up and down, E. And notice my sail. E. And notice my anchor. E. Okay, anchor moving that way, sail moving that way. But we need to set the energetic direction for our sound to really facilitate the best opposition. And what that means is the idea of imploding the sound rather than exploding the sound. So if my energetic direction for the sound is I need to get this out, I need to get to the top, I need to get it out, like a lot of singers think without even realizing it. If I think I need to get this sound out of my body and explode it out, what's my body going to do? Well, all the support in the anchor is going to come up and try to push me out, and my sail is going to come down and try to push me out. And now I am here and I am not in opposition. But if I think implode, well, gosh, if the thing is coming this way, then I better make room for it, right? And so I'm going to implode the sound, and it's going to help me stay in the opposition because the energetic direction of the sound is coming this way instead of going that way, okay? So I want you to play with the siren, imploding your siren. Bring the sound to you. It is not your job to get the sound out. Words matter. If you tell yourself that you need to get it out, push it out, reach for it, whatever, you will, and your body's going to do the thing to try to facilitate that, and you lose your opposition. So the words that we use to talk to ourselves around our technique and around our singing really matter because our body is going to follow what our brain is telling us. So tell yourself, implode the siren, and feel what that does. Okay, play with that on your own, okay? It's a hugely powerful tool. And also notice if the sound quality changes throughout the siren, if you have something that happens like this. Did you notice how it was like nice and resonant, and then as I came down, it was well, gosh, it got really airy. The sound quality changed. Let me check in with my body. Let me come back to my present moment body awareness. Let me do it again, and let me see if I notice. Oh, I lose my anchor. So on the way up, I'm opposing, and on the way down, I'm still doing this, but my anchor's coming up and pushing way too much air out because I've collapsed. So I'm not in my anchor anymore. I'm going, yee! So this is why that awareness is super important, so you can really get in touch with what's going on in that moment and notice and make a different choice. So you have the siren. Now we're going to bridge the siren into a scale. And so what we're going to do, we're going to start here, and we're going to do a simple ma mo moo. Sounds like this. Ma mo moo. You guys see my sail? You guys see my upside down triangle right here? Watch for it. Ma mo moo. These triads, these arpeggios, are just sirens. They're just little sirens. From here to here is a siren. Ma. You see how I'm sliding between the pitches right now? I want you to slide, you guys. Bring your siren to this arpeggio. Slur and slide. Gooey, gooey. You cannot be too slurpy here, okay? Listen. Ma, mo, moo. Okay, so as you're practicing, be aware of H's. So this is what H's sound like. Ma, mo, moo. Did you hear my H's? Ma, ha, ma, ho. Okay? That is not opposition. That's going like this. Ma, ha. You lose that. Every time you lose that opposition, you get a puff of air. And you lose your sail. The things are coming this way. Okay? So use your siren to create the connection, connect the dots between the pitches. Because a lot of you support this note and you support this note, but I lose you in between. And now what's happening? You're changing your support when you change pitch. And what did we learn yesterday? Do not change support when you change pitch, okay? So you're using your siren slide to do two things. To continue to slide down in your anchor and continue to slide up in your sail as you move through the pitches. I'll do it a little higher. Ma, mo, moo. Even if you're in head voice, same thing. Ma, mo, moo. Okay? So watch out for H's and be so gooey to connect the dots so that this opposition is one thing. This is not 5 different pitches. It's not 5 different supports and 5 different pulls on your siren or on your sail. It's one thing. If you think of it as 3 or 5 things, then you're going to hit it 3 or 5 times and we're going to get those H's. So one bow, like if you were a violin player, one bow, not e, 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 no. Ma, mo, moo. Okay? Okay. So no H's, connect the dots. Which brings me to concept number 3, which is a reiteration of what we were talking about yesterday. Do not change your anchor and your sail when you change pitch. You are always opposing your anchor and your sail no matter what. If the pitch is changing, if the syllables are changing, no matter what direction the pitch is going, doesn't matter if the pitch is going up and then it goes down, you're always opposing your anchor and your sail. If the words are changing, no matter what, okay? So, I want to coach on this a little bit. So who's got a song that maybe you gig with or that you audition with all the time that you know really well that you'd like to volunteer to be a guinea pig and coach and work on some of this opposition tools? Go ahead and use the raise hand function. Use the raise hand function in the reactions down at the bottom. Who would like to coach on some anchor and sail? All right. Well, first of all, I see Jim and Steve are like all up in there, but since Jim and Steve got to sing yesterday, and guys, I applaud you for like raising the hand, but somebody who maybe I haven't had a chance to play with a little bit. Lisa, I see Lisa's hand. And if we have time, we can come back to you guys. Okay, go ahead and unmute Lisa and come on camera. Lisa, I see you got your hand up, but you got to unmute and you got to turn your camera on. No. There you are. I hear you.
Okay, hang on. I'm on my phone, so I gotta. What the heck? Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Here's the tricky thing, though. I'm in my car, and I don't know if that's gonna work.
Well, from a perspective of like the physiology as you're learning the new tools, being in the car. Like, I know you guys, I mean, we all love to sing in the car. We all love to practice in the car, but it's like not the most constructive because here's why. When you're in your car and you're sitting in the bucket seat, the way the bucket seats go, your knees are higher than your butt and your back and your here. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're able to stand, are you able to get out of the car and stand up?
Yeah, you know what? It'll be a couple minutes because I have to go back in the building. Okay. It'll take like a minute or two. So circle. Would you want to pass on to someone else?
Circle back to us. Come, circle back and put your hand up again when you're able to do it. Okay. Kaywin.
Hey. Hi.
Hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Likewise.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, I am standing. I hope I don't disappear here. Okay.
Got you. Okay. So yeah, let's just do like a verse of something or a chorus of something. You know, let's just play with this idea of opposition, okay?
Okay, I'll just go to start here. Goodbye, yellow brick road, where the stars of society call. Can't place me in London, I'm going back to my house.
Okay, good. Let's work on that much. Great. So First of all, how'd that feel to you?
Um, I was kind of all over the place because realized I didn't have the words in my muscle memory there.
That's fair enough, and that's
So
okay. Honestly, you could la-di-da. It doesn't really matter for our purposes. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to, first of all, let's do some sirening, okay? So I want you to breathe into that smell the brownies space. And then since this song is mostly head voice for you, since you're doing it in mostly head voice, I want you in your head voice to say, aha! Aha! Okay, good. So you're doing a good job of finding your sail, but your anchor is a little inconsistent. It kind of keeps coming up and out of the sand a little bit, okay? So find your lower support, okay? And I want you to put one hand on your oblique, and like we were doing yesterday, put the other hand like around your lat, okay, around your back. Yeah. So go around the front. So go around the front, under your bra line, and hold yourself. Yeah, exactly. There you go. And the other hand just right below it, on the same side of your body, on your oblique. Okay, and then just try to relax your shoulders as best you can. Okay, good. So I want you to breathe in to smell the brownies. And then when you do aha, I want you to move the energy of your container away from your sail. Aha! Into your hands. Ah! Yes. Do you feel how much more consistent that is? Okay. So the one thing I did notice was that as you sirened down on the ha, right? Your sail came down in the direction that your anchor was going. And you guys, this is really common at first when you're learning this, because it can be a little bit like this at the beginning, you know what I mean? Because this needs to go down and out, and this needs to go up and out, okay? So let's do it again, and I want you to, same thing, wrap your hands, okay? And see if you can visualize, as you're descending, pulling up in the opposite direction, up as you go down. So it's down to go up and up to go down. Ah! So let's do it. Let's actually do it on a full siren. You're going to go ah! Down as you rise, pull up as you descend. Try it. Ah! Yes, Ivy. Am I pronouncing your name right, by the way?
Yeah, you got it. Yes, Ivy.
Ivy. Okay. That was way better. Did you notice how that was like one expansion? Like, what did that feel like to you in your body when you did that?
One big smooth thing.
Yes, yes. That's because it was. You weren't adjusting your anchor and your sail when you changed pitch or when you changed syllables from the ah to the ha. Okay? Now, I want you to take that feeling, and I just want you to chant in your head voice, kind of around the pitch center that the Yellow Brick Road song is. And I just want you to chant the vowels in that same siren feeling, the same way you're using your body. And you're going to go, goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. And you're going to stay in your sail and your anchor, moving away from each other exactly the same way you did when you sirened. Let's experiment with that. Try it.
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road.
Okay, you're doing really good. But so you guys, any other voice teacher would let her get away with this, because that was really better. But there's one thing that I want to point out that's going to help you to find even more stability, which is I'm going to stand up, which is that I notice that when you're doing each word, your body kind of, your knees, your body kind of wants to like help you in that way. And I totally appreciate that. And you're doing exactly what you need to do internally. You don't need to help it. So there's a little bit of trust here, that you can trust the sense of opposition that you're exploring, even though it's new. So I want you to do it again, and I want you to plant your feet, and I want you to feel the energy moving internally, but it's not something that you need to mess with externally. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. Sail pulling up, anchor moving away.
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road.
Good. Now I want you to take the pitch center a little bit higher so that you stay in head voice the whole time. So we're going to pitch it a slightly higher as we're chanting. Good, or the goodbye yellow brick road.
Goodbye, yellow brick road.
Good. Now we're going to go to the actual melody and the actual pitches. But I want you to continue to have this feeling of siren chant. So what I tell my singers all the time, I'm pretty sure Amy and Siri and Jess and those of you know what I'm going to say right now, which is no singing aloud, Tybee. What that means is when she thinks sing, she's going to go into all her old habits that are going to try to make it sound good and make it better and make it right and all these things. And it's going to kick her off what she's experiencing right now. Okay, so siren these words. Goodbye, yellow brick road. And it might feel square to you and it might feel not artistic, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just siren the melody in your anchor and your sail.
Okay. Goodbye, yellow brick road.
It's better. Now what we're going to do is body is still thinking of this as 5 different words. Goodbye. And so you're hitting your opposition 5 times in the phrase, okay? And I want you to visualize that this is like the image that I like to use in my own body is the image of like a supernova. I think maybe I said this yesterday, where it's like everything is moving away from this midline. But the thing about a supernova is like it's always expanding. It doesn't do this, right? It's the same thing as like the single bow feeling on the violin. This is not goodbye yellow brick. No. Goodbye yellow brick road. So I want you to think of it as one thing. Connect the dots, make it gooey, just like we were talking about. Try it.
Goodbye, yellow brick road.
Good, keep going.
Where the dogs of society howl.
Keep going.
Can't put me in house. Yeah.
Yeah, keep sirening. Okay. I don't know the words. It doesn't matter. Just la it. Doesn't matter.
Going back to my plow.
Good. Now start from the top. Let's do it again. And bring in this idea of imploding this feeling. So it's one thing, like we were just talking about, not 5 things. One implode with every phrase that just pulls you into this opposition. Try it.
Goodbye, yellow brick road, where the dogs of society howl. Can't put me in your penthouse. Going back to my plow.
Yes. So what does this feel like to you? What do you notice in your body? Is there like an image, a shape, a sensation?
What I was actually getting was big. I wasn't thinking about separate words. I was thinking about these kind of packages coming. These things, yeah.
But it makes
I was only to be there to put some syllables in, yeah.
Yeah, but it makes a huge difference in your resonance. Like when you get the recording and you can go back and rewatch the replay, A-B, the first thing you sang versus that. And this is way more focused, way more resonant, not as airy, not as shaky, way more consistent and way more grounded in your body, because that opposition created that stability for you. And it was louder in the sense that it allowed you to be louder without having to push necessarily. But I also want you guys to know that, like, when you're learning this to begin with, mezzo forte is kind of where it starts. It takes more support and more opposition to be more intimate and to be more pianissimo. So that's something that you can get to with it, right? But for now, like, this was such a difference, Tybee, like massive. Good job. Well done. Well done. All right. So you guys, we're going to get to coach a little bit more in a minute. Marilyn, I see you. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start with you in another minute. But we have a special guest
Not here yet.
She's not here yet. Okay, then you know what? Let's
No.
do Marilyn, and then we'll get to our special guest. Hi, Marilyn. Good to see you.
Thanks. It's good to see you. Gosh. The only problem I have here is I don't know how to get into, so the sound is
Okay, it's probably, it depends on everybody's devices, and sometimes it can be a problem for certain people and others, so we just tell everybody to do it. But I'm hearing you just fine right now, and so we'll just sing and we'll see if it's an issue. Don't stress on it. Okay. So, do you have a couple bars of something we can play with?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, stand up. Let's do it.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by if you smile. Through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness.
Okay, let's work on that much because it's basically the same melody after that. And you know what I mean? Okay, good. So, first of all, what did that feel like to you? What did you notice?
It felt pretty good. I mean, at times I felt I needed to get into the heady thing more.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I wanted to play with you with on this. What is the phrase that goes up? It's in the selection that you just sang. The highest part of it.
If you smile through your fear and sorrow, that's the time you must keep on smiling.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the time you must keep on smiling.
Yeah, on the must, because the must is like the highest pitch in that, right? And what it felt like was a little bit like you were kind of hitting a ceiling. Like I don't know if you felt that, but
yes, I have the issue. It's always that should I be in head? Should I be in chest? This is a thing that always goes on.
Yeah. Okay, so let's play with that. So when I was giving you guys the tools, I was talking about the mamo moos and the mamo moo. So are you able to stand? Can you stand and do it?
I'm standing.
Oh, you are standing. Sorry, I saw what looked like the chair and I thought that was the back of the chair, but you are standing. Good. Okay. So take a step backwards so I can see a little bit more of you, if you can. Perfect. Okay. So let's do a few of these. So I'm going to hit the chord and you're going to go mamo moo, and then I'll give you the next chord and then we'll keep going, okay? And as you do it, I really want you to, same thing like I was talking to Tyvee about, see if you can find the siren feeling between these pitches that is going to siren through the anchor in the sail. So let's try it.
Mamo moo.
Okay, so I want you to put same thing I had her do. One hand here, one hand under your bra line to try to feel around to your back. Okay? Yep, and the other hand down on your support. Okay. And I just want you to siren from here to here, and you're going to go ma. And as you siren, I want you to visualize that the siren is going down and out into your hands. Ma. Try it.
Ma.
Good. So I'm going to invite you to not sing it, but more just chant the siren. It's not meant to be pretty. It's not meant to it's just meant to find a vibration through your body. Ma.
Ma.
Getting better. Did you notice you had more of a flex here as you did it? Okay. That's okay. I saw it. So I want you to bring your awareness. Don't go on autopilot. Bring your awareness to what you're feeling. And I want you to do it again. And you're going to breathe into the smell of the brownie space. And then you're just going to siren again. Don't make it sound pretty. Don't show me your beautiful voice. No singing. Just siren into your hands.
Ma.
Okay. Did you notice how you were able to get up to head voice now?
I guess, was that head voice?
Yeah. It was head voice, if not definitely head mix. It wasn't fully chest. And
Yeah.
it was in the center of the pitch, whereas before it was flat. Okay?
Right.
Because you gave yourself more of that feeling. So let's go up a step. Ma. Same thing. Okay, so I see, and I don't know if you feel, but you'll see it on the recording, that now we went higher and body went, oh, I better help. And we got this. Ma. And I literally saw your body push it in to try to push the pitch up. Okay. So both hands back down here now. Both hands on obliques. Okay. Can you do lip trills? You can do a lip trill?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to lip trill into your hand. These muscles flexing down towards your hips. Yep, do it again. Ah, so you don't have the lip trill. Okay, you have kind of a lip trill, but it's too much air. It's too much air. And the support changes when you go up. And so we're getting, there's like an initial engagement, and then you pull back right before you're about to change pitch, and then you engage more to try to get yourself up. Okay, so view this as your gas pedal. If you want to go up, you gotta bear down on your gas pedal. So for right now, I don't care what it sounds like. Like, I'm gonna invite you to make a bad sound. Like, I dare you to make a bad sound, and just focus on this and feeling that sensation of bearing down with your lower support towards your knees. That's your gas pedal. That's gonna make the pitch go up. Try it into your hands. It's getting better. Every time we change pitch, though, I get a flood of air. And it's the same thing as like the H's. Like when I was doing ma, I get, it's like we engage and then we have to gun it. The reason that your body has to gun it is because when you start that first pitch, you pull off for a second before you rise. And then you try to start to rise and your body realizes, oh no. And then it whacks it and then we get too much air, okay? So there are a lot of ways to coach this. I have like a million tools for you right now, Marilyn, and I'm like, I could spend 20 minutes. Hang on. Ash, is Jules here?
Yes.
Okay. Marilyn, put a pin in it because our special guest is here. When we're done with her, I'm going to come back to you because I've like some things that I know are going to help you kind of iron this out a little bit, and I'm not done with you. Okay.
Great.
Okay, cool. So you guys, our special guest, before we get to her, I just want to make sure that I give you the homework for today. So I want you to practice your opposition with your sirens. You're going to use the ma, mo, moo. And we have an MP3 that'll be on the homework page or on the landing page. That MP3 that you have from yesterday, the Mamo Moos, use that to practice your new opposition tools. There's also a thought exercise to prepare for tomorrow's session. The thought exercise is understanding why you sing the way you do. So Ashley put the homework link in the chat. Copy that, okay, so you guys have it. And again, if you've attended one of the workshops prior and you've done this before, you have more awareness now. You have more, mind, body. So go deeper this time. Approach the technique exercises and the thought exercise with a new intention from the awareness that you have now. Okay. And if you're watching the replay, the homework link is, you can get in the Facebook group if you need it. Okay, now let's meet our special guest. She's a busy lady. She is a grad of our intensive training program who not that long ago was struggling with a lot of the same issues that we've been coaching on in the last few days. She had a voice with so much more potential that she didn't know how to access, and her impact was really being limited by a lot of tension, a lot of inconsistency, and she had such a big message, such a big vision for her music, and there were just big issues that were really holding her back. And now, as we speak, she is working with some of the biggest names in Nashville, having an experience that she could only have dreamed about a couple of years ago. So I invited her here because I wanted her to share her experience with you, the things that have moved the needle the most for her in her skill set, in her mindset, in hopes that you can gain some really good nuggets, some gold that you can use to completely change the outcomes of your singing journey, just like she did to hers. So please welcome Jules King.
Hey everyone. Thanks, Arden, for having me. Good to see you all on here.
You're so welcome. I know how busy you are, so I really appreciate the time that you're taking to be with us today and share with everybody here. So if you would, like, let's just start. If you could share with everyone, like, what was going on with your voice and your singing career before we worked together in the intensive training program. Like, how are you feeling? What was going on?
Yeah, well, I imagine for all those that are tuning in today, I maybe had a similar journey where, I had this one sibling of mine who had the perfect pitch. Like I literally felt like could sing every single cover, had the big voice. Put me in the chat if you've got friends like that, family like that, people like that. And then I felt like I had this unique voice. It was a little bit, seen a couple of me's, a little bit, underdeveloped in some ways, but it had this raw sound to it. And I really wanted to do music professionally, but I felt I didn't have the confidence and the full sound. And, the concept even called a head voice. Anyone ever feel like they never had a head voice? I think I came into our first meetings and said to you, Arden, I was like, I don't think I have a head voice. She's like, everyone has a head voice. I was like, I don't know where it is. And then, I got connected through a webinar kind of masterclass similar like this and, learned what you were up to. And I had this one decision that it was like, if nothing else, what would it be worth for myself if I knew I could invest in a solution that would give me freedom in something I love doing so much, which was singing? Like, what would it be like if I truly experienced congruency and freedom with my instrument, regardless of all the things I wanted to accomplish? If just I could feel the freedom of what I know is possible in my sound with externally how it's being received, what could that be like? And that was really actually the simplicity of curiosity that entered me into this world, and little would I know that would have led to now working with Grammy Award-winning songwriters, performing out of Nashville, and the whole slew of things that have opened up since.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's so interesting because I think, like a lot of other singers here, you had probably tried other training in the past. And what was it for you that was so significantly different that moved the needle from all these other training experiences that you'd had?
Yeah, I very much was in voice lessons. I was always kind of tuning into free little things. One was even, they called like the Masterclass series, like learn from the great singer how to do these things in 30 days. Put me in the chat if any of you've kind of done some of those things as well. And though I felt like I made some progress, this internal feeling that I was chasing, this congruency, and the results never really, they felt fleeting. They felt like I would move 3 steps forward and then I would lose interest, life would happen, and I'd move 2 steps back. And with the work that we were able to do together, the approach between mindset, having group, which, was one thing I could master it in my lessons before, but then as soon as I would get in front of an audience, it was almost like a deer in headlights. Like everything that I remembered technique wise, like went out the window the second I was with, people in a high, stake kind of setting. And so by combining the mindset with the group work, with some of the meditations and the way you teach, I felt like for the first time, I wasn't even being judged while teaching. And you have such a way of having so many different tools to access the same thing, and a persistence, if anyone's worked with her in the past, that, you don't give up. And, oftentimes voice teachers kind of give up, and I kind of felt given up on before. And I was glad that you met me in the fire, and that allowed me to keep going.
So what are some of the biggest ahas that you think have made so much difference for you in to be able to do what you're doing now, stand on big TED stages and speak and play your music, be able to, work with Grammy. I mean, you guys, Grammy winners are producing her album. Like, she's having a moment, and she's having a real industry moment right now, right? So what are the big things that the big ahas that you think really moved the needle for you?
When I started, I would have said I needed more technique, and that was true. And if you had asked me how my mindset was, I would have said it was pretty good. The thing was, though, that I had some deep-rooted beliefs for myself in my technique, my voice. I mean, so many years of doing things a certain way, I had made decisions without realizing it unconsciously of what was or wasn't possible for me. This is possible for that singer, but not possible for me. I'm seeing some head nods, even show of hands if that's felt true for you. And to be able to kind of go through that belief garden and go, but why couldn't it be possible for me? Why is it only possible for that singer? why couldn't I have that too? That was the first kind of real big aha, that I had to question what I didn't know that was living in my self-conscious. And then when I think about it now in hindsight, well, of course I was capping myself at the opportunities, and I was game to play on my local Boulder, Colorado stage. But, being in the room with like people who have won so many Grammys and they're literally vying to write with me song after song after song, like, even if I had had that opportunity, I don't think I could have received that opportunity previously, because I didn't believe it was right for me. And so the mindset was a huge component of it. And then the second part is I really did need better technique. In order to support a big sound, I have a big voice. And with that big voice, I needed to learn to control it and how to finesse it. And the technique really did provide the foundation. But I don't even think I could receive the technique until I received the mindset. And those two components, like I said, if you'd asked me from the beginning, I wouldn't even said I needed that. But that was the beauty of this inquiry, what came out.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've had some pretty big shifts, some pretty big wins. Can you share what some of those have been?
Yeah. So, I have a head voice and I'm writing songs in my head voice, and that's amazing. And so if you hear some of my stuff now, like even friends that have known me for a long time, they're like, wow, that really soft part of your voice is so nice to hear you sing it more. And I'm just like, yeah, silently to myself. The other thing is I started working, if anyone knows the artist Lauren Daigle, who won a bunch of crossover Grammys in the Christian music space. The team who discovered her, this guy John, and helped really kind of blow up her career, is the person who has been managing me the last year and a half. And so heard my sound, saw what I wanted to do, and literally assembled 18 creative songwriting teams over the last year and a half until we finally found the fit that now we're releasing our first single with the project next month, and then so on and so forth. But to have that level of recognition has been a massive win. And I'm really proud of the music I'm writing. It's not one dimensional. I would say my songs before might have been safe in the dimension I could write, but now I'm writing in pop, I'm writing in Christian, I'm writing like even a little bit of blues, a little twang of country at some moments in there. And that range of expression has been a huge win as well. And then, I'm getting the recognition when people hear me sing in these rooms, they're like, whoa, like you're amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And that, if you really knew me before, was not a common experience. It was like, oh God, please make this note not suck in this high stake environment. So.
Yeah. But it's very interesting because what you talk about like being pigeonholed and feeling like those old beliefs, well, my voice only does this. And so then you only write in this. And then you are only in that one experience. But having had that experience of being able to expand the possibility of what you can do with your technique, really understand what the potential of your instrument is, be able to now write in ways, for those of you who are songwriters, you're only going to write what you think is possible, like what you think you can sing. And if you don't have the foundation to tap into that full potential of your instrument, then it can be really pigeonholing. It can be, really stifling in terms of what you write and what you create. So I'm glad you brought up that point, because it's, for those of you who are singer-songwriters, it's really, really important. And so what has this allowed you to do other than write more amazing songs?
Well, I gave my first TEDx talk, which was incredible, in February. I was asked to do that. So talk about, you think it's moving the needle in the singing stuff, but then it opens up the voice in all areas of your life. And then the craziest thing is I just started learning guitar. I went through a breakup and he was always the guy who accompanied me. And I was like, I could be the girl who teaches herself how to play guitar and accompanies herself. And I got asked while I was in Bulgaria to play one of my original songs on the TED stage on guitar and sing. And I did that and it was awesome. And it's got like 50,000 views and it just came out a couple months ago. And I'm like, beyond the external, like the person who could bring a guitar who's been playing for 6 months and get on a TED stage, like that was not in my trajectory of things. And that's was definitely been a huge win. And just seeing, one of these chats, comments in the chat as well, by Tracy, of like wanting to be a singer since very young, miserable voice teacher, and then kind of doing other stuff, in life. Like for me, I was a very successful entrepreneur, not really bringing my music. It was my hobby kind of thing I kept to myself, but it didn't matter how much success I had in these other areas of my life. Something always felt missing. I could spend years building businesses or doing things and something always felt missing. And then it was in doing this work that now I'm feeling that sense of wholeness. And then I think this TEDx stuff and these other opportunities that are showing up is the reflection of it. It's like the next stage of my business has also been the stage of my music by proxy. Like everything rises as I've gotten to rise. And that's been a really cool and surprising, effect.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious if you were talking to somebody who is listening to you and who's, been in our trainings the last few days and who wants more of what we do here and is thinking that maybe they want to train with me and my team and in the intensive program, and maybe, they're not used to working online, or they're worried about time, or they're worried about the investment. Like what advice would you give, having like been through this process yourself and come out the other side?
Yeah. I would say, don't even think about it. I would say, just do it. And I would say that because this is one of the moments, I don't know how you all found yourself here, but I was really sick in 2020 with autoimmune and was struggling and really kind of lost hope. I was diagnosed with early onset of MS, a lot of pain to get into the kitchen. I remember saying to Arden, I don't even know if I can commit because like my body isn't even like functional. Like, what if I have to cancel calls and I can't make up anything? And instead of meeting my reasons, which it was very reasonable, like I actually had an autoimmune condition and that was reasonable, you actually met me and, well, what do you actually want out of your life? And are you going to keep listening to the voice of the autoimmune and you don't have the time and the finances are, you're not working in your business as much because you're so sick all the time? Or are you going to create the context for what you want in your life and just trust that you'll figure it out and we'll figure it out? And it might not have been exactly like that word for word, but it was what I heard out of it. And it was the first time someone was willing to get bigger than the reasons I had for myself. And I don't think I had someone stand so much for me bigger than the reasons I had for myself. So if you're sitting on this call and you got reasons, whether it's time, money, for me, it was like autoimmune, physical well-being, all this stuff. To have someone stand in your team, stand for a commitment that your greatness is possible, it is extraordinary. And I think that there's very few people that really are willing to get big in that way. And just put, if you guys have noticed that about Arden so far, just put yes, just show her some love. If you've seen that about her the last few days, that she's willing to get bigger than your reasons, throw some yeses in the chat for Arden, because that's an extraordinary commitment. And to do that with like, frankly, random strangers, I'm seeing a lot of yes, love for Arden in the chat. Like that really takes something. And so when you ask yourself, well, who's the kind of person and how are they being that I want to take me to the next level? Like this woman all the way through. And, I started with the intensive and then I was like, I want more. And it was the next thing. And then it was a year thing. And then we did retreats and that never wavered. And so I would say that looking at that place, that is absolutely what I would do. And I literally got my life back. I got my sound back. I got my music back. And I'm just getting started. And I can't wait for us to have a check-in call in like a while. And I'm like, Arden, I won the Grammy. Like, oh my God, I've been thinking about that forever. It was possible. And it is going to happen at some point. And so that is the kind of conversation, whatever your game is. It might not even be the Grammy. It might even just be to get your sound back. The game doesn't matter as much as the stand does. And that is the kind of extraordinary commitment you get with Arden and her team. So I don't think you're going to get it anywhere else. And if you've been thinking about it, it's not an accident you're in this conversation. Like, do it.
Well, but you guys, what I want to mirror back to you is, do you hear, Jules, the dream is bigger than the fear. The dream has to be bigger than the fear. And by dream, it's whatever that is for you. And it's different for each of you, what that looks like. When you get real quiet with yourself and you're like, God, if I was just past these issues, what could I do? What would I want? How does my life look different? How does my family look different? How do my finances look different? How does my day-to-day balance look different? If I could do music full time, if I could just fix this SHIT, and you know what I mean? And that's the thing, is that like for most people, they stay in their excuses and the fear always remains bigger than the dream. And so we talked about nuggets of gold, right? Like, listen to her. What she's telling you is that she decided, and it is a decision, guys. She decided that the dream was bigger than the fear. And then the footwork just happens. It just does, right? It's like the commitment to change comes first, and then the how shows up. And it always does, but because the commitment is made first. And that's what I'm out here trying to empower you to do, even with this free workshop, is to say that, like, there's a way to be able to empower yourself to get on top of these things, whether it's a technique thing, a mindset thing, all the things, right? But that in truth, Jules, when you look back at the things that you thought were impossible, at the things that were your excuses, at the things that you thought were big hurdles that you couldn't get over, now in hindsight, like, what is that? What do you say about that? Like, what is your, you know?
Really, you look back and it's like it's not even it reminds me of this meme. It's like this guy is holding on to this branch and he's so afraid he's going to drop in the water, and he realizes he's like 6 inches off the ground like the whole time. And it's exactly that. And now it's allowed the stretch to be even bigger as a result. So
And so what are you the most excited about, and what are the edges for you now that you're going beyond?
So I built a whole business brand. I have a big podcast and all kinds of stuff under one last name, Jules Schroeder. And I decided that after I went through really what feels like this transformation, I was like, Jules needs a different vibe. And I wanted to take my mom's maiden name. So I did, and now I'm coming out as Jules King. And so the first single is coming out in a month, which, if you really knew me, was kind of like a big deal. And my parents were naysayers. You know, my one brother got all the attention and all the spotlight, and I was always the one who should probably go do business because only the top 1% of people make it, and my talent wasn't good. Now,
okay, wait, hold on. That's limiting belief, right? Like, this is the stuff, guys, that, like, if we hadn't worked mindset, like really worked mindset, that would have stopped her from taking the actions, even to, like, invest in the training, invest in the produce, whatever it is to do. Because if those things, if it's just too hard, if only the top 1% make it, then why would you bother? And then you just stay stuck and you just keep playing small for the rest of your life, and now you have regret. So sorry, I had to, just because, like, those are some, I mean, do you guys get that? Who here has family who just, like, does not support them, who thinks they're crazy, who thinks it's completely unrealistic?
yeah. And that's exactly it. And then here I am now taking my mom's maiden last name and going further in, and my family has now become the biggest supporters of my music in just the last year. And they're like, I don't know why we ever doubted you. Oh my goodness, your sound is so great. Like, yada, yada, yada. It's been a wild transformation. And for me now, this next steps are like, okay, like, I've gotten the product. The sound is where I want it to be. All the pieces are here. And then there's these thoughts of like, is anyone going to like it? Like, what's it going to be like? And then, not that we're not human, but it doesn't stop. And then I have the possibility to actually have a distribution deal with Sony Records right now, provided these launches go the way that I will intend them to go, music wise. And it's like a whole bigger ball game. It's like this stuff that I've wanted for so long is actually showing up. And now it's like the receiving of it. And can I stay consistent with it? And can I still believe that I have a seat at the table? And I don't know if you guys have experienced this in other areas of your life, but, you know, the internal dialogue doesn't necessarily go away forever. But the environments you put yourself in, right? Which is why I'm always calling Arden up and I'm like, Arden, this is happening. Like, those environments call it out in a greater capacity. You become bigger than your circumstance. Your environment gives you bigger structure. So I feel very blessed with that. And yeah, I'll throw actually a link to the single that isn't out yet if anyone wants to hear it. But yeah, Jules King, it comes out August 24th. You can pre-save it and listen to it because it's freaking awesome. And I'm really proud of it.
It's really awesome. Like, I remember, so we do retreats once a year or so with the singers who are in our training programs. And we were at a retreat last fall. Yeah. And you had just written the song and you were workshopping it at the retreat. Do you remember that?
I do.
And I can't wait for it to come out because we've continued to work on it. And it's so, I'm really excited for you to share it with us. So please do that. You guys, please give Jules a round of applause. Thank you for sharing all of your perspective and all of the ways that you have grown and the things that have meant the most to you. She'll drop the links in the chat. It's just amazing because you guys now, like, you see what's possible. And you've already gotten so many ahas and results from the last few days to really marinate on and play with. And so I want to show you how I can help you bring this full circle, because now you have some new foundations, new awarenesses, new tools to really go out there and be a whole lot more tapped into your potential, to be a whole lot more successful on your own. And if you're comfortable with the trial and error of going through the rest of the process of embodying this and implementing this and figuring this out as you go with all these new tools and trying out lots of different things until you get the result that you want, I want to encourage you to get out there as soon as possible with these tools. Condition it and get out there with it. And if you're the kind of person then who would rather follow really like an exact blueprint and wants an A to Z roadmap for maximizing your impact, your technique, your potential, to have expert eyes and ears on you, to have that guidance to tell you what to do, how to do it, make sure you're doing it right, that gets you a predictable and repeatable result in your voice, then the intensive training program that Jules is talking about that she did is probably right for you. And so that's the program that Jules trained in. The intensive is, it's an all-in-one program. It's holistic. It's a holistic training approach to your journey that addresses your technique and your mindset and your artistry all together, so that you know how to access that last 10% of your potential to really unleash the full power of your voice, of your talent, of your energy, how to stand out from the competition, how to own the opportunities that you want so that you can land those opportunities and keep them coming. And so in the intensive program, the way that we train through our time together, you'll have a much higher level of reliability and consistency in your technique that you can trust, that shows up for you no matter what, where your body is working for you, not against you. So that singing that way, it doesn't just feel good, you guys, like it sounds good, but you know what that connection is, that sweet spot, because it sounds good and it feels good. You know, I know a lot of singers, they're able to make a sound that sounds good externally, but the way they're creating it is filled with tension and strain and vocal fatigue, right? So we're working for a sound that doesn't just sound good, but that feels good too. Also, freedom and stamina instead of tension, strain, fatigue. So you get consistently better results from the things like Jules is talking about: performances, recordings, auditions. Like, no more putting in all this time and effort and money and not seeing the kind of results that you want. And so this way, we also want to help you to find your own sound, tap into your own confidence, your own unique voice, because you have that foundation to know how to access your potential. And it's really hard to find your own sound if you're not tapping into the full potential of your instrument, like what you have that nobody else does, your special sauce that really sets you apart from other singers, which is actually what we're going to be coaching on tomorrow and Friday, so don't miss that. But imagine when you have this, the kind of certainty that you heard in Jules, that I know what's coming. I know what's down the pike. I know what I'm creating. That certainty, because she knows how to tap into her unique artistry. She has much more. She has technical mastery to be able to do that now. Like, then, can you imagine not having to be the bridesmaid anymore, right? Like we were talking about the other day, always feeling like you get this far, but you can never, like, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Can you imagine that not being the reality anymore? Like, no more longing, no more frustration, anxiety, sadness of watching somebody else up there on that stage getting the big opportunity that you want while you're still stuck at the same level that you've been at for ages. But instead, it's your curtain call. It's you up on the big stage. Like, I had a singer who performed at Lincoln Center about a year ago, and she came into one of our mindset calls and she was like, you guys, it was insane. I walked into the stage door and I walked backstage, and she's like, there was my name on the dressing room door, like in Lincoln Center. Imagine that, like your name on the dressing room door, walking into a grocery store. I love telling this story because it really just stuck with me. And hearing your song playing on the radio. That happened to me. I was in Ralph's on La Brea in Los Angeles. Those of you who live in LA, the Ralph's on La Brea, the big Ralph's. And I'm like pushing the cart, and my daughter, who at the time was like 6 months old, in the thing, and my song comes on the radio in Ralph's in the big grocery store. Okay, it's the coolest thing. It's like getting that opportunity, walking onto the biggest stages of your life and looking out into that crowd and thinking, I did this. I did this. Because let's think about it. What is it really costing you not to own that big life that you want with your talent, not to own your voice and be able to do the thing that would get you there right now? Guys, it's costing you time, the one non-renewable resource that we are all given, time. I mean, how much time have you lost on the hamster wheel that you've been on? 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, like what Jules was talking about. Not getting the breakthroughs to where you want to be. Do you want to lose another year, another 5 years? God forbid, lose another decade doing the same things and getting the same results that are keeping you stuck. And then all of a sudden, you're at the end of your life and you're looking back and you're sad and in regret, wondering, what if? Wondering, what would I have been? What could I have done if I'd really fought for my gifts in a different way? And it's costing you opportunities. It's costing you income. It's costing you impact. And while those things are frustrating, to me, they're not the real cost. What is it really costing you not to own your voice? Like, I'm legit asking. Type it into the chat. What is it costing you not to own your voice? What is it really costing you to have a gift and constantly feel like you're hitting that ceiling when all you want to do is live it to its fullest potential? And you know it's there because sometimes it comes through and sometimes it doesn't, but you don't know how to tap into that potential regularly when it counts so that you can break through and get those elite gigs, get those opportunities that will take you to the life that you really want. What is it costing you to continue to have to accept a B+ career when you know you have an A+ talent? So that's what we're doing here, you guys. And I see what you're putting into the chat. It's costing my life not to show my voice to the world. It's costing fulfillment. It's costing peace of mind, my dignity, a life wasted, unexplored, not being fully here. Yes, you guys, like, thank you for like being so vulnerable and really allowing yourself to not sugarcoat, because when we sugarcoat, oh, it's not that bad. Really? I hear that all the time. Oh, it's not that bad. And then I hear about singers who have all kinds of things going on, whether it's things in their body, like Jules was talking about autoimmune, like gut issues, migraine issues, autoimmune issues, skin issues, all these things. This is your body like literally rejecting the fact that you can't do what you love and live your gift every single day. And mental health as well. Depression, anxiety, all these things, you guys, when you have a gift and you know it and you cannot live it because right now you're stuck on that hamster wheel and nobody's showing you how to get off it, and you're too scared to do what you need to do to get off it because what if it doesn't work? What if my mom was right? What if I'll never do? All the lies that go on and the excuses in the brain. Yes, Becca, it's costing you your peace. It's costing you your sense of self, your sense of worth, how you walk through every day knowing that you're doing what you were put on this planet to do. And so that's what we're doing here, guys. Like, yes, this is about your singing, but no, it's not. It's about giving you the ability to fully step into the gift that you were given and do what you were put here to do. And then how that affects every other aspect of your life. And so to do that, there are really 4 key pillars involved over a 16-week training program. So 4-month training program container, okay? The first pillar is the technique accelerator, where we're making sure that there are no gaps in your technique to rapidly help you nail down technical mastery. So the technique accelerator is comprised of 2 essential elements, breath support and resonance. We're going to deep dive into both of these, where we're teaching you game-changing.
Are you putting in the refrigerator?
Sorry about that. Somebody had unmuted. So we're talking about breath support and resonance within the Technique Mastery Accelerator, okay? So this is high-level technique that ensures reliability, eliminates tension and strain very quickly, bad habits, ensures consistency. This is the bedrock of your ability to tap into the fullest potential of your voice and deliver that when it counts every single time with full confidence and impact, no matter what. So you can go out there and start hitting more elite, higher paying career goals. And then the second pillar is about unleashing your unique artistry. So most vocal coaches, they only teach technique, which is why their clients don't get hired and they're not out there doing the big things. So we're going to take you through a really powerful process to immediately tap into your unique energy, your unique sound, and show you how to unleash that for maximum impact in performance. So you're the one that they remember. You're the one that they want to hire. And then the third pillar is a blueprint for mastering your mindset. And this is another piece that most traditional training does wrong, or not even wrong. They don't do it at all. And that's mindset. To speak to what Jules was talking about, most coaches, they train you from the neck down and they leave out the one part of your body that can and will sabotage everything else if it's not trained, and that's your mind. And your body, guys, cannot do what your brain is sabotaging. So you cannot build technical mastery. You cannot find and access and unleash your unique artistry if you're being sabotaged by what's going on in your head, both on stage and off, that you don't even realize. So in this toolkit, we give you advanced professional mindset strategies so you will perform to your potential every single time, because we have taught you how to get out of your own way. And then finally, the last piece of this is world-class support. Because listen, I know you guys are all here because you are so passionate about this and you care, and this means so much to you. And I know that if you could have done this and fixed this stuff on your own by now, that you would have. And this is honestly where most training programs drop the ball, is they hand you a bunch of information and they leave you on your own to figure out how to do it. Or if they do give you support, it's minimal. And you waste a lot of time between lessons not having anybody to check in with, number one, to see if what you're practicing is correct, or are you just practicing in the old bad habits and continuing to reinforce those without realizing it? And number two, there's nobody mirroring back to you all the ways that you're getting in your own way that you don't even see. And so we're the opposite of that. We're with you every step of the way. You guys, your goal is my North Star, and I'm going to light a firecracker under your you-know-what to make sure you get there, just like Jules was talking about. We are with you every step of the way, making sure that you're implementing these strategies correctly and in a timely manner. And so we're building your transformation right alongside you. And so here's how we deliver that. You get weekly technique training modules, you get weekly mind-body integration modules, individual weekly coaching in the context of our group studio classes. So you're looking and watching the trainings, and then you come into studio class 3 times a week, and I have my eyes and ears on you, and we're coaching and making sure that you're implementing it correctly. And then your colleague gets up and coaches, and you learn from watching them, and you get breakthroughs because you're watching them and you're going, oh my gosh, I do that. And I didn't even realize I was doing that. And so now you've had a breakthrough on something that never would have even come to light in the old-fashioned one-on-one context of training. And then you also get one-on-one accountability mentoring with your dedicated mindset coach. So you each have your own dedicated mindset coach who you're working with. And you get a community and a safe space, which is really important to be able to go beyond your comfort zone, go beyond the fear. Remember, we talked about the vision and the dream has to be bigger than the fear. And the community and the safe space is essential to that, to go beyond your comfort zone in a really compassionate and really supportive community. And also an artistic incubator to be among like-minded artists where you can learn and take action and grow to achieve the creative goals and targets that you have. And so the normal tuition for the intensive training program is usually $9,000, but I'm taking $2,000 off the tuition from now until Sunday night as a bonus for everyone in this workshop. So it's just $7,000 until midnight on Sunday night for those of you who are here because you're so dedicated, and you guys are exactly the kind of people who I love working with in our training program. So I'm giving you a huge incentive, a huge $2,000 discount. So we have some really great flexible payment plan options. I'm going to share my screen really quickly, just talk you through this for any of you who are interested. We have payment plan options, so it's just $18.97 a month if you do it monthly for 4 months, or if you want to save an extra $1,000, It's $7,000 to do a pay in full, or we have PayPal financing, which that might be right for you if you qualify. It can be as low as $340 a month, depending on the rate and term that you qualify for. So Ash is going to put the link in the chat for those of you who maybe want to investigate what the training program is like and see if maybe this is an opportunity that would be right for you. We are offering another special bonus, which is for the first 3 singers who go with the pay in full option, get 2 bonus private one-on-one coaching sessions with me that they can use at any time in their program. So if you know you want in, you can just use the link that Ashley just put in the chat to start your enrollment. If you'd like to book a short call with me, a short discovery call with me to find out if the intensive training program really is the right fit for you and if it's going to meet your goals and your specific singing targets, then please book a call with me. Get on my calendar. We'll have a short call. This is not a coaching call. This is just a short discovery call to see if what we've gone over is going to be a good fit for you to move forward for your goals. Then we can just hop on a quick call and I can answer any questions you have, any lingering questions you might have about the program to see if there's a fit. So let me go over tomorrow and then I want to pop back in with Marilyn. So do not miss tomorrow. We're going to be integrating these tools going from process to performance. So we've been doing a lot of process, but it's like, how do we take this and put it into context in performance? And I'm going to show you how to fast track process to performance by showing you how to get out of your own way to bring it like you never have before. So we've done a lot of skill set the last 2 days, a lot of technique, and I really hope that you go back and you watch the replay and you use the MP3 and the tools to really practice your opposition, practice your breath support tools. So we did a lot of technique the last few days. Now I want to circle back to how do we use the mindset to optimize these techniques so that we can get out of our own way and bring it when it really counts. And that is what's really necessary for the kind of impact that it takes to do this at an elite level. So reminder, do your homework tonight. Use the Mamo Moo MP3 from yesterday. Practice embodying the opposition. Do the next thought exercise that will really prepare you and give you insights so that you're ready for the work that we're going to do tomorrow. And if you want to learn more about the details of the training program or you want to enroll, the link, Ash can put it in the chat one more time. And if you have some questions, then your next step is to book a short call with me so we can chat it out and decide together if this is the right move for you. And if training with us is where you know you want to be and you know that already, then get in before the $2,000 discount expires on Sunday. Okay, Marilyn, come back here.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So we were sirening, and what I noticed the most is that the diaphragm, it wants to flag. It doesn't want to just stay and move consistently down. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do something that I rarely ask singers to do because it's not for everybody. Okay. So oftentimes, as voices age, we tend to get a sound that it can often be described as kind of a wider vibrato or a more unwieldy vibrato. And that is not a foregone conclusion. There are ways to really help that because most of the time that's happening because the breath support is not as integrated as it needs to be. And that kind of wild, wider vibrato can be really reined in with some more integrated support. So I'm going to ask Marilyn to do something that I don't ask most singers to do because most singers are not in that position. And I'm going to ask you to think a little straight tone. Now I don't want you to force a straight tone, okay? But I want you to do the Mamo Moo that we were doing before. Mamo Moo. And as you do it, I just want you to think a little straight tone, whatever that means to you. Think straight tone, and let's do that experiment and let's just see what happens, okay?
Mamo Moo.
Okay, so what if I said to you, let's not sing this. As we think the little straight tone, let's siren this. Really gooey. Ma, mo, moo. Like connect the dots, like slur the portamento the whole time.
Ma, mo, moo.
Getting better. Now, can we, same thing that I was talking about to Tyvee, can you implode the siren? So instead of needing to push up to the high note, let's see if you can implode and send down to the high note. So I want you to use your hand, and I want you to go, ma, mo, moo. Try it, siren.
Ma, mo, moo.
Okay, that was fabulous, and I'll tell you why. Because we just got a huge insight into Marilyn's subconscious thinking as to how her subconscious mind is conceiving of the phrase when she sings. So I asked you to do this and implode this in and down. And whether you probably don't even realize that you did this with your hand. Your hand is still telling us that you want to get the sound out instead of implode the energy and the sound in. And as long as that little weed in the subconscious is working her, I could give her the best technique in the world, and it's not going to matter, because in her subconscious mind, and her hand told us exactly what her subconscious mind is thinking, because her hand went this way. And you're, by the way, Marilyn, you are not the first, you are not the first to do this. This is very common. But it tells us body still thinks it needs to get the sound out, and so it's moving way too much air. So I want you to take your hand and I want you to face it towards you. Face it towards you. And you're going to follow your hand, and your hand is going to direct the energy of the siren. Again, no singing aloud, siren. Ma. I just want you to do that much.
Ma.
Okay, so you were in the siren until you got to the second note. And then as you held the second note, the top note, as you held the third, ma, for a second, you stopped pulling it in, and the note went flat. You were actually on the center of the pitch when you started, but don't be done before you're done. Ma. If you're on that note, if you're phonating, you're still drawing it in. Try it.
Ma.
Okay, that was flat. That was flat. So come back down here. Okay. So hands on your obliques. And I really want you to feel like you're gently pooping. Okay. Engage your pelvic floor. Ma. Send it down.
Ma.
Okay. She's got her anchor working, but she needs her sail. So I want you to find your fangs, and I want you to find your back top molars, and I want you to feel like they're riding up into your brain and go, ah.
Ah.
Uh-huh. See if you can go in. Let's see, where are we? So we're just doing that much. Ah. Pull it up into your brain.
Ah.
There, we're getting closer to the pitch. So now her sail is coming up to match her anchor a little better. But they need to go further. So can you pull your back top molars and your ears and your soft palate further away from your pelvic floor by lowering the pelvic floor more and pulling up your teeth more? So go to 105 in this opposition. Go further than you think you need to. Try it again, just ear to ear.
Ma.
Better. Okay, so now I'm going to say more tone, less air. Do that experiment. What does that mean to you? I don't know. Try it. More tone, less air.
Ma.
Okay, that's interesting. So the pitch went back down again. It was flat again because body interpreted more tone, less air to mean less support. So we're not going to use that one. So you guys you're learning how I coach here, which is I've got a toolbox of 50,000 tools, and we're going to see which one works for Marilyn. So we know that the one that works for Marilyn best is going to 105, in terms of your opposition. So let's do that again. And I want you to visualize that you are like a beam of light, okay? That's like it's exploding in opposite directions. And if you want to feel more consistency in the pitch to be right in the center of the pitch, then you need to expand your beam of light farther. It doesn't mean that you go faster. It's not we hit it, you know what I'm saying? But it needs to go farther. Okay, try it. Ma.
Ma.
Can you legit smile, like air out your fangs as you do it?
Ma.
There. That helped you find a higher sensation of sail to match the anchor that you were sending. And you'll notice that the vibrato is not as unwieldy. It's there, but it's not as wide. So we're going to do the same thing up to the 5th. So don't view like you stop on the 3rd. We're just going to keep expanding. You're going to keep pulling up into your, it's almost like you're putting in a retainer or dentures, like, yeah. So, ma. Try it.
Ma.
Okay, this is working well for you. But every time you change pitch, you restate your support. So we're getting, like, in the support that I want is one steady send. Ma. And what your body wants to do is ma. You want to like hit each one, okay? But you guys, that's inconsistent and that's not supportive because it's changing. Remember we talked about things that support things are stable, right? So can you visualize, and you might put your hands here and feel that sensation of consistent. It's like one thing, Marilyn. It's not 3 pitches. You're doing really good up here. Let's see if we can create that consistency down there so she's not changing her support when she changes pitch. Try it again. You're doing great. Now, can you let yourself go into head voice on top and see what would happen? Yeah. When you go into head voice, don't change that support. You guys, this is the thing that gets most singers, is that when you change pitch or when you change registers, you ever so slightly back off your support, and then when you get to the next note, you hit it and lean in again. That the feeling of slide, Marilyn, it's like you're sliding and then you pause and then you hit the brakes and then you slide for the next note and then you hit the brakes. I want you to slide one slide through the whole thing. Ma. Be egregiously slurpy. Like, don't worry, I'm not going to make you sing like this forever, okay? But like, if it feels ridiculously slurpy, you're not even going far enough, okay? Try it. Better. Now, can you go into head voice? Here, let's take it up a step. Okay, don't try to push your chest voice up. Let yourself go into head voice, and it might feel like a wonky transition. It might not be a smooth transition. I don't care about that right now. All I care about is that as you rise, you're leaning out and down instead of pushing up and in, and it's one lean. And go to head voice sooner. Don't resist it, okay? Try it. Yeah, start higher. Yes. Don't use your head voice down there. It's going to allow you to mix better later on when you solidify that, because in order to have a good mix, you need equal strength, chest and head. So use your head so that it gets strengthened. Don't try to continue to push your chest voice up. Okay, do that one more time and see if you can feel it as one thing. And let's see if we can feel it as siren-y and as gooey as possible. And what creates that goo is, again, feeling that lean out. You can see me flex the muscles. See if you can play with that in your own body.
It's funny because I can hear and know what to do from what you're saying. But when I get into the process, I guess old habits last. So, I can hear that, what you're asking for.
I know. And that's the frustration, because intellectually, you fully understand what I'm asking you to do. And in the moment, your body's like, because number one, yes, old habits die hard. They require new conditioning. But also, the mind can be tricky involved in that, right? Which is like, so what would happen if I didn't try to control the sound in the way that I'm used to? Because the old habit is you trying to control every pitch. And so you micromanage every pitch, and there's no through line to the support. It stops and starts every time you change pitch, which is why you're flat when you get to the top, because there hasn't been any consistency going there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so there's that old, the thinking, which is like, well, let me ask you, what's the story? What's the story that your mind is telling you right now? Just about what's happening.
That would, it's kind of jumping around to wondering why I'm doing what I'm doing when I'm thinking of, it appears I'm thinking something else,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm seeing what you're doing, I know what you're doing, and I feel like I can do that, and I feel like I've done it, and yet there's a pullback somehow.
Yeah. And so is the inner critic being, is it blaming and shaming you? Like, come on, Marilyn, like, you know how to do this. Why aren't you doing it? Like, is it being hard on you?
I don't know if it's being hard. It just feels a little, the only word that comes out right now is so ridiculous. It's ridiculous that I'm not doing what you're saying.
Right. But there is that, there's like, I should be able to do this. I should be able to get this. This is ridiculous. Right? But that's an expectation. I should be able to do this. And the unsaid, the inference in that is like, what are you, dumb? Like, what are you, stupid? Can't you do this? Like, this is ridiculous. You should be able to do this. That's sort of the inference here, right? Like, and in that moment, then, like, we get we get kind of a little bit annoyed with ourselves. Well, I mean, what's the emotion that brings up within you, if I can ask?
I don't know. I tend to, it can be easily just settled in that. And uh, I can't bring up an emotion for it.
When you say you feel
If I went
settled in
really
that,
deep, it's just frustration and um, um, ah, possibly that, this can be typical, it's bad, it's something like that. I don't know.
yeah,
It's difficult to come up with something. I
yeah.
don't.
But it's like, and I really appreciate your honesty and your willingness to just kind of go on that little exploration, because it's kind of what I'm hearing from you is like, well, it's just been this way. Like, it's just always been that way. Is that what I'm hearing? Like, it's typical. Is that what you mean by that?
I guess so. Yeah.
Right.
That, why can't I just make that switch? So
Yeah.
it seems like it's kind of the way it's been, and I
Right.
haven't,
And so when you say make that switch, what switch are you referring to? Just ahead?
the switch would be to do the siren. I mean, I'm sure I've sung like that. It's just that in this kind of situation, it's with a teacher student, something, you know, something,
So
something's missing out.
yeah, no, I love where you're going with this. Are you cool to continue to play with me for a minute? Like, bounce back and forth? Okay. So like, right. I mean, how many of you guys, you're like in it with your teacher, or you're in it with an expert, and you want to get it right, and you understand what they're asking you, but there's something blocking you, there's something getting in the way, right? And so if you had to say, what's your biggest fear in this moment?
Uh, I think my biggest fear would be not doing what I need to be doing to create what you're asking for.
Okay, and why is that the biggest fear in this moment? What happens if you can't do what the teacher, or me in this case, is asking you to do?
Um, Possibly a typical failure.
Okay, very powerfully framed. She could have just said a failure, but what she said is a typical failure, which means this is how it's always been. This is how it's always gone. This is typical. I put myself and I try, and always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Like same thing. Like it's the typical. Okay. So this is the inner critic that's talking right now. This is the fear that's talking right now. And this is what, and we all have this, Marilyn. Like every single one of us, like we have the voice of the inner critic, which is, like we talked about on Monday, not the voice of your awareness. It's the voice that is trying to whip you into shape so that you don't fail, so that you get it right. Oh, you're typical. This is always what happens. You didn't do it. You're not going to get it. Like to try to, like, you know, the stick versus the carrot, right? Like this is the stick, like so that you get it right this time. But it also creates that deflation, because it never works. The stick doesn't work on you. It just makes you feel even more deflated and makes you feel even more defeated, and that makes it even harder for your body to show up for you in the way that would create the outcome that you want. And so either we end up trying too hard because we don't want to have that experience, or we just give into it because typical, this is what happens, why can't I do it? Either way, we're creating a scenario in the body that holds, that isn't open to the new experience, the new sensation, the new action. Okay. And you guys, like if nobody coaches Marilyn on this, and Marilyn, you are not alone in this. Okay. I mean, this is why singers come to do the intensive training program, because this is deep mindset work. This is peeling away layers, but this is where the gold lies, because it's not that your body can't do it. It's that there are circumstances that you absolutely astutely identified that are going on in here that are stopping you from being able to allow the sensation that you know intellectually. I know you know it intellectually. You're a smart cookie, and I've known you for a while now. and I know that, you know, and but this is where we get in the 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, because it's like 1 foot in 2 canoes, right? You got your foot in the canoe that's like, I fully get what she's saying, get it. And then you got the other foot in the other canoe, which is all the stuff we were just talking about, which is, and you can't go anywhere. You got to hop into 1 canoe. You know what I'm saying? But until we uncover, discover, discard, and start to understand. So like, how would you do this, Marilyn, if you literally didn't give a shit what your inner critic was saying? How would you do this if there were 0 consequences of you needing to get this right, get this wrong? There were no consequences as to whatever is happening. We just have this moment, coming back to present moment. How would you do this if you didn't give a shit? Mamo moo, go for it. Don't think, go for it. How would you do it if you didn't give a shit?
Give you the chord.
Yeah, so let's do this one. Oh, wait, now you're thinking. Don't think. Mamo moo. How would you do it if you didn't give a shit? Go.
Mamo moo.
See, now she's in the center of the pitch on top. That's exactly the same chord that we did 5 minutes ago when she was flat. So what I did there, Marilyn, is I hijacked your brain a little bit. We had a discussion. We got into some understanding of what's really going on. We unpacked a little bit. We got a little more awareness, brought you back into the awareness part of your brain instead of the inner critic part of your brain. And then I gave you an invitation not to care. And then guess what happened? Boop! The high note's on the center of the pitch. It's not flat anymore. And so this is like, Marilyn, thank you for this. And thank you for just being so open and vulnerable and willing to play with me. This is why, you guys, this is why you cannot coach technique in the absence of mindset. Doesn't work. Because what we were doing before we talked to Jules was we were going to technique. And she was struggling. She was hitting that wall. The minute we talk mindset and we integrate mind and body just through having a discussion, and then I gave her the invitation, that was the intention that she brought in, which was, okay, if I didn't give a shit, how would I do this? And then she did it. That's like a little microcosm of the work that we do, and when we get to do this over, you know, a concentrated period of time, everything changes. And you learn how to live in that place, in that present moment, instead of what you did just now, which was you visited it, which was fantastic. But we need, how do we live there? And that's the work. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
great job. What did you notice about that when you did it? And I was just like, how would you do it if you didn't give a crap and you just did it? What did you notice about that? What was that experience for you?
I felt freer, and I, you know, it was just felt so, it just was natural.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you guys, your body was built to do this. Your body knows how to do this. And the way that I work with you guys is in helping you to peel away, to let your body do what it was built to do. Yes, there are techniques. Yes, there are things you need to understand, but giving you those things without peeling away these layers, they just get in the way. And you're not allowing your body to do these things that it otherwise could and would and knows how to do, which I know you know, right?
Yeah.
All right, you guys. I know I've gone like massively over time.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging in. You know.
Yes. So for those of you who stayed with us, thank you for that. I hope you really got something out of that. I hope you relate. I really do invite you to play with that idea of how would I do this if I didn't give a crap? Try it. See what happens. And do your homework tonight. Do the thought exercise tonight. It will be incredibly clarifying for you. Work with your anchor and your sail. Don't miss tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to get into all of the really important stuff about how to get out of your own way, like a lot more coaching on integrating technique and mindset, like just like we were just doing. I see there were others of you who had your hand up. Becca and Sapphire and Steve. So please, I invite you to raise your hand tomorrow, and I will remember that you had your hands up today, and hopefully we can coach tomorrow. Okay, guys, have an amazing, amazing day. If you're interested in the intensive training program, Ashley will put the link in the chat one more time. Get on my calendar for a discovery call if you want to have a conversation to see if it's right for you. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.